evening. So, as a young lad, big dia, I enjoyed my childhood of getting relentlessly bullied in elementary school and then eventually getting relentlessly bullied in middle school, but we don't talk about that here on the channel. Today, we're going to be discussing one of my favorite things growing up that my mom never let me have. That's Nutty Buddies. Nutty Buddies are one of the best things to just sit down and just enjoy on a nice, hot summer day. Nutty Buddies bring me joy, and I hope they bring the person watching this joy as well. Except we're not fucking talking about Nutty Buddies. We're talking about one of the best games ever fucking made, motherfucking Twilight Princess, fucking released on the GameCube and Wii U. And Wii, of course, but I forgot about that one. I played on that. I played Twilight Princess on the Wii. Why didn't I say that first? Anyways, yeah, Twilight Princess is one of my favorite games for a long time, and then that shit got shattered by Persona 5 Royal, just fucking right into first place. There's a lot to talk about on the game, like how good it is, and how I would recommend it to anyone with a Wii or a GameCube or a Wii U, for example, or a PC with emulation on it. But today, I'm going to be discussing about how much I like it, and how much I want other people to play it, and why it has a special place in my heart. So before we talk about how good the game is, and how fantastic the game is, and how sexy the game is, today we're going to talk about why the game is bad. Get that out of the way so I can talk about why it's good for the next minutes. So there's the gameplay's not that great. Climbing was really slow on the Wii. It got improved on the Wii U. It's way faster now. Especially the graphics, it got way improved. Just kidding. It looks exactly the same, just sharper. And another thing about the gameplay is that this is like, Zelda's like a thing where it's like explore everywhere on the map and like literally enjoy all your surroundings. And while you do enjoy your surroundings with the views and the scenery, there is a problem with the actual way you play the game itself, where it's very linear. And there's another problem I have with the gameplay, which is in the Fire Temple, where it's like, oh, well, you fucking put your boots on, and then you go on magnetic wall, and then in magnetic wall, you walk on magnetic wall, and then in magnetic wall, you walk super fucking slow, so then you just, you die a little inside. What else is there about the gameplay? Oh yeah, if you're playing on the Wii, it incentivizes you to fucking with the fucking Wiimote and shit. Which, by the way, the stab is the fucking easiest thing to do, and it's one of the most overpowered thing to do. So you half the time when you're just playing on the Wii, you're just kind of going I don't want to be stroking off the fucking ghost in my house. I just want to be playing the game. And now you're probably at the part of the video where you're like, Jacob, why are you talking about fucking stupid ass gameplay for a game that you say you love, but immediately you're like, the gameplay sucks ass? I know what you're thinking. So now let's head on over to the pros, where I'm immediately going to start out with the gameplay. I'm going to be honest, boys and gals. This Legend of Zelda honestly has some of the best dungeons I've ever seen, where you loot, you get the loot, you kill the mini boss, you get the item of the dungeon, you loop back around the dungeon's your bitch, and then you kill the boss. Triumphant ass shit. There's a scene in the game where you're stabbing the fuck out of this water snake in the depths of the fucking ocean, and this fucking badass music's playing, and I'm gonna be honest, that shit is just cool. That is just name a game where fucking Spider-Man comes in with a fucking dagger and starts just killing a water snake underwater. There's no game like that. There's no game like that. And there's another scene in the game where you are jousting this guy on a bridge and you fucking dome him and he falls off to the side and you do this triumphant ass shit on your horse where you hold out your sword and it fucking like goes backwards. What's the term for that? Your horse stands on 2 feet. That sounds weird. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of your horse standing on 2 feet, but he does. He stands up. Your horse stands up, and it's pretty cool, and I enjoy that. And you might be thinking, Jacob, that's not gameplay, that's vibes. And we're not at that part of the video yet, so yeah, of course it's vibes. But you do it yourself. It makes you feel good. You know, like, you are the person that is stabbing them. You're the person that's stabbing, like, the boss. You're the person that's stabbing that water lizard under the ocean. You're the person that's winning that joust competition. And, like, it does all this by just, like, you know, letting you, like, use the fucking Wiimote. You know, stroking off the ghost in your fucking house. All that shit. There's just a ton of parts of the game where you're just like, oh, that's really well incorporated, and I never thought that would happen. But there's also parts of the game where, like, that's also pretty stupid, I don't like that. And that's why gameplay is pretty iffy on me, because I'm like, I like that part, but also this part was pretty shitty, so it's kind of dragging that down. But now we're going to get into the parts where it's like, okay, this part's on a pedestal in my heart and soul, and I love it to death. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention the part of the game where, you know, you turn into a dog. And a fucking demon creature rides your back, and it's pretty fucking cool because you do a lot of cool shit and you can jump it into different areas, and at some point in the game you can just switch back and forth from human you into dog you, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But also I think a ton of furries were birthed from this, and I don't know how to feel about that part. So yeah, the gameplay of the game itself is good and bad. But what makes the game stand out from other games, such as No More Heroes 1 and 2, and Grand Theft Auto, and probably Stardew Valley? Those are just games I'm thinking of at the top of my head. I'm looking at a list right now. It says it's just like the shit. Story. The story of the game goes like this, and I'm just gonna spoil it. Like, spoiler warning, guys. Put a spoiler warning here. Put stock alarms. The game's been out forever. I don't remember when it came out, and I'm too lazy to look it up. But there's probably gonna be a picture here of its date, and mocking me about how stupid I am. So, but probably before the 2008 housing crisis. So that's my guess.
Nice shot.
The story starts out like this. You, the main character, is Link, a little farm boy, and he's like, hey, to this guy named Russell. And Russell's like, hey, do you want to go out into Hyrule, this place you've never been to before? And he's like, for sure. And then the next day, the day you're supposed to leave, you know, fucking herd goats again, because yeah, you're a fucking farmer boy, yeah, woohoo. So once you're done doing that, the fucking horse girl notices that your horse has a gash in its leg, and then she fucking takes off with it, so you chase after her. These kids block you, and then fucking like, oh, you hand them your sword, because nothing bad's gonna happen, obviously. Except I wish that's where it ended. Because then what happens is a bunch of fucking goblins with hogs ride in, break down the gate, and then just knock both you and Horse Girl out. You chase after them, you find this big wall of darkness ahead of you. Because, a fun fact, the world has plunged into Twilight. It's not looking good. And I'm not talking... The game's called Twilight Princess. I knew this joke would come eventually. I'm not talking like vampires and werewolves. I'm talking... You're pretty much just werewolves. Let's go back to the story. Where was I? Oh yeah, and then you get dragged into the Twilight area, and you turn into a wolf because, fun fact, you were born with the fucking Triforce of Courage because you're Link. That's your whole shtick. And then you meet Midna, which I'll talk more about Midna later. But you pretty much go about and you leave the Twilight area, but you're still a wolf, which sucks ass, and you and Midna grab a sword and a shield you steal a sword and a shield from the village that, you know, you were raised in, and you avoid, you know, getting murdered by the townsfolk, because guess what? They got raided by those goblins that, you know, bonked you on the head and then stole children and horse girl. Not cool. And then pretty much you steal that shit and you go into the Twilight Realm and you get the Tears of Light, which then cleanse the area, because there's like a bunch of parts of Hyrule. There's Faron, there's Eldron, there's Elden, there's Faron, Elden, fucking Zerados. Anyways, the regions are Ordana, Faron, Elden, and Lanayru. And let me tell you, these places bang. Anyways, you cleanse the place of Twilight, you return to be human, and you got drip, by the way. And with the drip comes consequences. You guys save the world basically from being purged into Twilight, and you basically go okay because a bunch of children got stolen from your village, and Horse Girl was pretty cool, and I'm pretty sure had a crush on you, and it's like referenced in the story that weird. And so you go throughout the fucking game, going through temples, and then getting pause on that one. Delete that, by the way. I need to explain the fucking Twilight. God damn it. How fucking fantastic. The Twilight are a race of people that are different from Hylians. Hylians are what you are. Twilight are different people. Thank you. And so yeah, Midna's basically using you to like clear out these dungeons, because the dungeons are creatures that touch the Fuse Shadow, and then they can't handle the power, so they become corrupted and huge, and you gotta kill them. Badass battles, by the way. I fucking love them. I can't get over it. So you do that, you clear areas of Twilight, and you get the Fuse Shadows, and it's all leading up to beating the main villain, Zant. If you ask me, I love Zant. I love Zant from beginning to end. If you guys don't know, Zant is a cool villain because he is like, throughout the entire game, he's cool, he's mysterious, and he's like, what's he gonna do now? What's his next move? And it's really cool because after you beat the Ocean Temple, he's just standing there behind you, and he's like, hey, fucking back into Twilight, bitch. And then Midna appears because, you know, she's Twilight and she can handle that shit. And you just turn into a wolf because that's how the game is. And so basically Zant's like, hey, fuck you for like trying to do all this shit, and then almost kills Midna. And you're just a wolf now, so you're pretty much powerless. Like Midna was like helping you out like the whole time as a wolf. So like without Midna, you're pretty much nothing. You're just a dog. And it gets into this point of the game where like a great piano piece is playing, and you have to like find Zelda to like help out Midna and like, you know, basically save Midna. And it's like, it's pretty fucking cool. So yeah, then you find Zelda, and Zelda's like, okay, well, we're pretty much like, you know, we're vibing at this point, so I'm just gonna give you my soul real fast. And Midna's like, no, don't do that, bestie, you don't have to. And Zelda's like, you know, she does it anyway. And so yeah, that happens, and it's pretty, like, it's shocking, because like Zelda's pretty much dead. We're like, you know, Zelda like doesn't have a soul. She's like fucking a corpse. And everyone's like, oh shit, well, that's bad. So we're gonna like do this thing where we, you know, we get Zelda her soul back. And then you fight Zant, you beat Zant, and then you see Ganondorf, because Ganondorf was like, haha, I was puppeting Zant the entire time. And that's pretty fucking stupid, but at the same time, it's pretty cool, because he's also a really cool boss fight, and that makes up for it. I am very easy to win over with this stuff. And, you know, with that whole thing, it like, you know, being like cool and whatnot, and like it's like, oh, that's super epic. You know, game over. Fucking Ganondorf dies standing up. And now that we're done with the story, or at least, you know, the big Dia cut of it, let's go on to the next part, which is, drum roll please while I check the list, the music. The music in Twilight Princess is good. I don't know, there's just like times where I'm listening to music and I'm just like, there's a lot of times where you listen to a video game soundtrack and you're like, oh, this makes me feel like I want to go to that place. And there's not a track better that describes that like motherfucking Snow Peak Mountains. Snow Peak Mountains just makes you feel like you want to go into the nice fucking mountain range and die in a blizzard, really. I mean, like, when you go there, this music's playing, you're lost in a blizzard. Fucking Midna just got a soul from, like, the princess you were trying to save the entire time. And while you're going through this blizzard, you feel even more lost. And this track basically just encapsulates that entire feeling. If I had to change the music at all, I'd make the fight music a little more calmer, because it's, you know, it's just kind of out, like, it's pretty rambunctious, if you ask me. What other music is there? There's just a ton of music I just love from the game. Like, fucking Ordon Village is nice. It's very peaceful. It's very calm. Midna's Lament. That's a good track too. It's makes you feel worried. You know, your heart's bumping. You know, it's very nice. And then we get you know, Ganondorf's battle, which is just I am pure masculinity, and I will forever remember this day as being born a man. And now that we're done talking about, fuck, oh my god, I need to talk about the best dungeon in the game, besides Snow Peak Mansion, City in the Sky. This thing is just straight up just a city in the sky with like fans propelling it upward, and it is, god, the fucking music for it is so good, and the dungeon itself is so good. It's a good dungeon to end on for fetch questy stuff, you know, like fused. Fuck, it's a good dungeon to end on for fetch questy stuff, such as the fused. It's a good dungeon to end on for fetch questy stuff, such as the fused shadows and the Mirror of Twilight. Because then after that, it's pretty much just like big boy dungeon, and after that, big boy dungeon. Oh, speaking of dungeons. Now, the dungeons itself, there's like a video, I'll probably link it in the description, it talks about it. It's like, hey, you know, dungeons are pretty similar in their format, where it's like you get an item, and then you go around, and you get another item, and then you go around, and you get another item, and you fucking make that dungeon your bitch, and then you're done with the dungeon. Like, the forest dungeon is, you know, a forest dungeon. It's basic bitch shit, but there are monkeys, and the mini-boss is a monkey with ass. And then we get to the fucking fire dungeon, which is just, or it's not fire dungeon, I'm so sorry. And then we get to the second dungeon, which is the Goron Mines, and that dungeon's pretty cool, except I hate the part where you have to magnetize your boots to a wall and then walk super fucking slow. That shit sucks. Literally worst dungeon in the game, F tier. And then we get to the water temple, which it sucks, you know, you have to swim, you have to use your iron boots to like sink down. It sucks, but it's not as slow as the Goron Mines, so, you know, I'm chilling with it. D tier. And then we get the dungeon after that, which is the motherfucking, it's like a prison in the desert, I forgot the name of it. And let me tell you right now, that dungeon slaps. And after that, we get Snow Peak Mansion, which I love that dungeon. I love it to death. You're trying to help like this Yeti's wife like get healthy so she can like lead you to where like the piece of the Mirror of Twilight is. And you have to like run around this mansion filled with like monsters and fucking like find carrots. And then the dungeon after that is also pretty bad, but is, you know, tolerable. It's Temple of Time. It makes you feel as though you're in a museum. So yeah, a museum temple. A sea. And then we get to City in the Sky, which that dungeon is great because of its atmosphere and music and weapon that you get, which is a hook shot. And 2 hook shots, my bad. S tier. Boom. And after that, you know, you have the fucking Palace of Twilight, which, not too big of thoughts on that dungeon. It's more of a mini dungeon, really. and you get to fight Zant, which I love that boss fight so fucking much. So immediate S tier, really. And then you get Hyrule Castle, which that dungeon's hard. That dungeon's hard, dog. It's not fun. However, it do be banging though. S tier. And that's pretty much it for the vibes. And we're about to hit the conclusion right now. However, let's do a little speed run for the fun fact round. Awesome. So, number one fun fact. The game looks like the way it does because a bunch of Zelda fans were like, fuck Wind Waker and fuck its cartoony feel. So then they made it realistic. And then that's why when the game got revealed, everyone fucking shat their pants. Number two. Holy shit, I didn't talk about characters. Holy fuck, I did not talk about characters. Holy shit. Rewind. No more fun facts. Go back. Some of the best characters ever made are in this game. Which brings us to our next session. Characters. So, of course, you have Link, you know, the main character, the fucking dude who does everything. He's pretty cool. I put him like C. It's just kind of like you as a person, you know, nothing really too crazy. And then we have characters like Zelda, which she doesn't do anything. And then we have characters like Zant, who is a Spider-Man villain. Spider-Man villain to the max. Like Green Goblin mixed with like Zelda villain. I love it. And then we have Ganondorf, doesn't do anything. And then we have one of the best characters ever designed, Midna. Now let me talk about Midna in not a way that like makes me bark in a Twitter comment after a nice woman's photo. Midna basically goes about the game in the beginning treating you like garbage. Pretty much going like, hey, you're a fucking dog, you're a little piece of shit. You are the dirt I walk on, and you are gonna do as I say. And you do, because you're a little piece of shit dog. Not dissing any dogs, of course, but you're a dog. Like, what are you gonna do? Fucking throw hands? You can't. And then, you know, Midna then slowly but surely warms up to you as you progress through the game. And then the whole, like, almost dying thing happens. And then she treats you as a friend. Like, she starts to care more about others. And it's very sweet to see. Love to see it. Love to see it. I love her progression. I love her whole character arc. She is, like, the only companion in Zelda games that I can tolerate and legit love. S tier character. And so yeah, now let's go to our little quick little fun fact round before our conclusion. Fun fact number 2, Midna's voice lines are actually just English words but jumbled up so that they sound, you know, different. They sound like Twilight. It's really cool.
Which one will it be? Have you made up your mind? I'll take you there with my power.
Fun fact number 3, there's a speedrun in Twilight Princess where it's getting the least amount of items, and there's a speedrun tech where Link has to stand there holding an item for hours on end until he finally clips through the wall, and you can then get through an area without using an item. The best speedrun for that speedrun is 72 hours long. So I actually got that wrong. The best time is actually 21 hours. Today we're looking at the second place time, which is 24 hours and 59 minutes and 52 seconds. And about 5 hours into this man's run, he finally gets the glitch. And his response to that isn't, you know, happiness. It's relief. Look at the happiness on this man's face. And for the, you know, rest of the speedrun, he's gone. He went to bed. This is the speedrun. When he comes back, never. We're at the 7-hour mark. He's still AFK. Link is now in the wall. By the end of the video, he's just still dead staring Link in the tree stump. Riveting gameplay. Fun fact number 4, in the GameCube and Wii version, Link actually has the sword in different hands. That's because in the Wii version, more players are likely to be using the right hand, and in the GameCube version, Link is canonically left-handed, so he's left-handed. Fun fact number 5, when Midna changes into her full self at the end of the game, she is hot as hell, and I just wanted to say that with 0 repercussions. I would die for that woman. I would get crushed by a 1,000-ton anvil for that woman. if someone went up to me and was like, do you want to resume medieval bloodletting? And I would be like, well, what's it for? And it's like, oh, this woman would like to see it happen, and it's her. I immediately done on it. It's over. So the game's trying to tell you is that not one person should burden their own fears and struggles and weaknesses, and instead they should take all that on with someone else, which is a great lesson to teach an 11 or 12-year-old kid going through 6th grade and then watching Sword Art Online because it was on during fucking Adult Swim. So yeah, go play Twilight Princess. It's a great game, and I highly recommend it. Go play it in any way, shape, or form that you can. However, if you don't want to play it, there's always tons of retrospectives online that just talk about it in the best ways possible. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Thank you so much to the people that have, subscribed and supported me. Be sure to like and comment if you want. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next topic, game, music, or movie that I find I want to talk about because it's cool. Alright, have a good one, guys. Bye.